Hey everyone, this is Yami, your Latina next door. Welcome back to my channel. I don't know about you, but after Christmas, I seem to have a lot of wrapping paper left over, and a lot of it is really pretty. So I thought I would create some winter DIYs for you guys in order to inspire you to decorate your home after all the Christmas decorations have been taken down and things have been looking a little bare. So I thought it would be great to take some of that beautiful wrapping paper and repurpose it into decor for our home. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Yami and I share a lot of inexpensive home decor and DIY inspiration, as well as everything that is going on during the renovations of our current home. If this is something that interests you, make sure to hit subscribe down below and also click on that notification bell so that you are notified every time I post a video. I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. All right, let's get on with those winter DIYs. So for this first DIY, I'm going to use this glass vase that you can get at Dollar Tree. These are the same vases that I did for my previous year's winter DIYs. I'll link to that in case you haven't seen it. And what I'm doing right now is just cleaning it with some alcohol to make sure the surface is absolutely clean. The next thing I'm doing is measuring the outside of the glass so that I know exactly how long I need to cut my piece of paper. And then once I determined how high I wanted the piece to be on the vase, I cut them down with my paper cutter. Now you can definitely attempt this with some scissors. However, I do like how the cutter cuts perfectly clean lines. And for my decor, I want something very nice and crisp. So that's why I use this instead. Next, I apply Mod Podge onto the glass vase. Now, normally I would use matte Mod Podge, but since the paper is actually a little bit glossy, I decided to go ahead and leave it that way and use glossy Mod Podge. Then, very carefully, I wrapped the paper around the entire exterior of the vase, and then added Mod Podge to the exterior of the paper. Wrapping paper can tend to wrinkle up, so just be mindful of the little wrinkles and try to smooth everything out as best as you can. This is what it looks like once dry. It looks just fine like this, however I thought it needed a little bit more of a detailed touch, so I added navy blue ribbon to the edges. I used a very thin line of E6000 in order to adhere the ribbon to the glass. And I did this to both the top and the bottom. And here is the finished product. I ended up putting one of those Dollar Tree battery operated candles in it, but you can also use this as a vase. I think it would look really pretty as a vase as well. Alright, so here's the next DIY. I have these little snowflakes from Dollar Tree as well. I found this cute little round wooden piece in my stash, as well as this square wooden little plaque that I had gotten from a craft store a very long time ago. So I thought, why not put these together? The first thing I did was apply Mod Podge to the circular round piece and apply some of my wrapping paper. Next, I took some of my home decor chalk paint in white Adirondack and I added a little bit of water to it since it was getting a little bit thick. You can actually do that with your chalk paint. You can spray a little bit of water and it'll make it a lot easier to apply. I gave it one coat and set it to dry. And while that was drying, I took my wood tint along with 4 paint stir sticks that I had left over from my previous project, and I decided to go ahead and stain those. And then it was time to cut them down. Since this was going to be a square piece, I could actually cut them all the same length, just leaving a little bit for another one to butt up against it like you see there. And I'll show you how to do that when you actually put it together. I used my little mini saw for this. I could not find where my handsaw was, but I'm happy I had this in my stash. This mini saw works great for projects like this, so I'll go ahead and include a link below in case you guys want to check it out. I did sand the ends a little bit after I made the cuts to smooth any rough edges. Next, it was time to assemble the piece, and I just basically made sure that it was centered on the little plaque, and then I hot glued it down. And then I glued the little snowflake to the top of the round piece. Then it was time to add the borders. However, these do have little ruler markings on them because they're stir sticks. So what I do is, if I'm going to place it on top of a piece of furniture, I'm just going to face the ruler down for that bottom piece. If not, if I were to hang this, then I would have turned it up the other way. But I'm still going to be putting the frame on the center of these pieces, so you won't see the ruler anyways. Now, because these are the same size pieces, you want to put the frame on one end all the way up to the edge, and then leave a little allowance for the other piece of stir stick open so that you can place it like this. And you're going to keep adding the rest of the stir sticks in the same manner. Just flip it over and hot glue it to the edge, and then place it down on that little allowance left over on that edge, and then do the top the same way. Then I added some hot glue to the back borders just to give it a little bit more stability. Then I touched up the little areas where I cut off the pieces of wood with some more wood tint. And here is the finished little sign. Next, I had this sad little sign that I started to do something with, but then I stopped and never did anything again. So I took some Java colored chalk paint, again from the home decor line from Folk Art, and I started painting the entire frame. Next, I took some white acrylic paint and painted the interior of the frame as well. Painted the interior white because I thought I was going to Mod Podge the wrapping paper right on the surface, and I didn't want the blue color to bleed through the wrapping paper. However, it ended up being a little bit too rough, so I had to do something else instead. Now, I found this beautiful winter free printable online. I'll link to the website where I got this below. That way you guys can get it as well. And I cut it down to size. I wanted the printable to have a little bit more weight to it, so I cut out some poster board and adhered it on top of it. And like I mentioned earlier, since the inside of the frame was a little bit rough for me to actually Mod Podge the thin wrapping paper on, I did the same thing with poster board to the wrapping paper and then adhered it to the inside of the frame. And I used regular school glue for this. I found these little pop dot adhesives in my craft section at Dollar Tree, and I decided to use it to the back of that little floral print so that I can make it a little bit raised on top of the wrapping paper print. These were a little tricky to remove, I will say, but once I thought I had enough, I added them onto the frame. And this is how this one turned out. Okay, last one, you guys. I had this little tag from Dollar Tree, and I removed the ribbon and I sanded the back of it. Once that was nice and smooth, I cut and Mod Podge some wrapping paper on top of that as well. And then just like the vase, I added a little piece of blue ribbon at the very end. Next, I took these little piercing tools that I found at Dollar Tree as well, and I cut out the little hole on top. I took a large needle and threaded the ribbon through, then I threaded it through the snowflake as well as the little gift tag. I cut the ribbon to the desired length, and I made sure that the ribbons wouldn't fray by burning the edges. And it's perfect to hang from any wreath or in front of any empty picture frame. And in case you're wondering, this is how I ended up styling everything on one of my bookshelves. I hope you enjoyed these DIYs. Of course, you can use any pattern of wrapping paper that suits your decor. I just thought it would be kind of fun to add a little bit of color since a lot of winter DIYs seem to be a lot of grays and whites. Remember, I have links to any tools that I use as well as those free printables that I found on Pinterest. As you know, I don't have everything unpacked yet, so I'm still missing some of my crafting items. However, I think I was able to grab quite a few things that were able to come together really nicely. I hope I've inspired you to check out some of that pretty wrapping paper that you have left over, if not from Christmas, but from any other time of the year, and really create something beautiful for your home out of that paper. Please let me know which one of these DIYs was your favorite in the comments below. And if you need any more winter decor inspiration, I'll go ahead and link it right here for you guys. That way you guys can check it out after this video. And I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, adios.